It's the anniversary show. It's the anniversary show. Hey, welcome to Mixing Night. It's our 1 year anniversary. I'm your host, Ken Lewis, and I have the weirdest discography in the entire music industry. I've navigated the music business for like about 29 years now, somewhat successfully, and I just collected my 103rd gold record for Kanye West Lost in the World. I sang on that, and I did the tribal drums on that as well. Me and Alvin chanted on that, and we also chanted on Power and All of the Lights. That's my 16th plaque with Kanye now. What an honor. So hopefully I'll get to do a few more. So I have a killer show for you guys tonight. It's the anniversary show. In a few minutes, I'm sprint mixing the brand new single Mojave from artist Saad. That song is just... man, just wait for it. You guys are going to love it. If you haven't seen the video yet, I've been dropping the video on social. So I'm going to play you a bit of the video. I'm going to sprint mix it to open the show. And then throughout the show and near the end, I'm going to do a full mix breakdown of the entire thing. Like the full mix is like 109 tracks, I think. So the sprint mix is 30 mixed stems. The full mix is 109 tracks. So I'm going to break down both of those things all throughout the broadcast. Feel free to jump on the chat roll and ask questions about what you want me to show you live. I have people on the chat roll who are feeding me the best questions from it whenever I need them. So, you know, just keep sending it if you want to get it answered. Somebody's there watching. What else is going on tonight? Let's see. Yeah, and also about the chat roll, keep it respectful. I have an awesome Mixing Night community there. You guys really keep the show going and growing, and we're really honored to have any repeat viewers of the show joining me tonight. And if you're a first-time viewer, just know that you stumbled upon an absolutely awesome community of like-minded creatives helping each other out and sharing knowledge and everything. We have a Discord channel, Mixing Night Discord. It's got well over 2,000 members on it. And if you haven't subscribed to the Mixing Night YouTube channel yet, we just hit 9,000 subscribers. B9001. Thank you. Let's see what else is happening tonight. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna do a sprint mix in about 5 minutes. So if you've never seen a sprint mix, this is the fun part, especially for me. I hope you like it too. Ear training tonight is rapid fire phaser flanger chorus, of course with a twist. Of course. There's a real world around here. I'm prepping you guys for that unexpected moment in that important session when your ears need to be really dialed in, and I want to get you thinking quickly on your feet and with your ears. So that's ear training. I think is going to happen around 8:45 maybe. We'll see. Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, brings you a segment on iOS apps for Arturia. And speaking of Arturia, we are doing another awesome giveaway for you guys. Tonight during broadcast at around 9:40, I'm going to pick a winner for the $2,700 Arturia Total Studio giveaway. It's an interface with 4 mic pre's. It's a 49 key controller. All of the V8, V Collection 8, which I love, the Pigments, which I love, the FX Collection plugins, which I love, and the modulators, which I love. And you'll get to hear all of the modulators on ear training because all of the chorus, flanger, and phasers that I used for those examples were all from the modulators collection on Arturia. But if you're lucky, you can win it tonight. And if you haven't entered yet, just open a new browser. Don't leave us. Open a new browser. In the description for the video you're watching right now is a link to enter the contest. You can enter up to 9:30. It's 8 p.m. right now, so you have 90 more minutes, and then that's it. Somebody wins it. It's gonna be given out live. Okay. Where was I? Let's see. You know, reflecting, this is the anniversary show. We began broadcasting in late March, a week after the lockdown happened. We're on the East Coast here in the United States. And the first broadcast was to like 25 people. And thank you so much to those 25 people that showed up. Our top broadcast we've ever done has had over 9,000 live joins. And we often hit well over 2,000. I don't know what we'll do tonight, but anybody who's checking in tonight, thanks for joining us. I'm going to make it a great show if I can. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, subscribe. We just hit 9,000. So on to sprint mixes. So I've got to earn my paycheck now. All right. Imagine somebody created like a video game, but for mixing. And it was like a Player One live action video game. That's what I did. That's what sprint mixing is. And the rules are basically, I have like 30 mixed stems that are all completely randomized volumes, and I start with all faders down, and I have 10 minutes on the clock to put together the entire 3-minute song into the absolute best rough mix that I can possibly make in only 10 minutes. And you can do it. This is completely in the box. I'm mixing on the SSL, but I'm using this as a controller right now. So when you see me working on the SSL, I'm moving the faders and mutes within Pro Tools. I'm not analog right now, although I love mixing analog on this desk. And I sell a bunch of these sprint mixes at my audioschoolonline.com. And I think if you're trying to learn how to mix, if you're just a very beginner and you've never done anything mix-wise, or you're trying to get to my level, there's 6 different levels. If you're on level 6, which is what I'm about to do, you're fucking with me. And if you're level 1, you are very, very beginner. These are easy ways to learn how to mix. And the fastest ways to learn how to mix, I think. So let's see. And the thing that the sprint mixes do, they don't train you to mix in 10 minutes. That's not the point. The point is to learn how to very instinctually listen to 2 things, balance them against each other, live with it, and move on. Do that very quickly, as many times as you can in a row, and then kick back and evaluate. And that's what sprint mixing teaches you. And in the real world, if I have a 150 track mix in front of me, usually within the first 30 minutes to an hour, every track is in the mix. Then I might spend 6 or 8 hours really slowly, dissecting the whole thing and listening and vibing, but everything gets into the mix as fast as possible. Okay, so I'm going to shut up and earn my pay. Let me show you. Before I mix this, just so you guys can see, I'm going to put this up on screen. This is the song that I'm sprint mixing, and I'm going to do the full mix breakdown. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the video while I'm prepping the sprint mix. I'm at the club, popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. See, I was born overseas, my DNA Lebanese. I call that design jeans, so I just do what I please. You already know. All right, enough of that. Yeah, that killer song, and they really did the whole video up right. Okay, so what am I doing? Where's my broadcast lights? Okay, I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the clock, and I'm gonna put my lolcat mask on, and not an hour. Oh, and if you haven't been introduced to Mazakine Tulip Lewis on the floor, her anniversary gift for the anniversary show is a monkey toy. She's probably going to squeak the hell out of that while I'm sprint mixing, and then she'll relax. So, welcome Mazakine. Welcome everybody to the anniversary show. It's amazing to have you here. I'm going to put on the disco lights and start earning my paycheck. It's going to be a great night as soon as I can. There it is. All right. Mojave, Saad. Ken Lewis, mixing night. Good to have you aboard.
Whisper that she don't wanna ride me like a jockey out. We gon' get it high like the Mojave. The girl for cardio. Bad bitch. Be my left and not too cardio. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. We gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bump. Body shots, I'm naked, look her off for cardio. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bump. Whoa. Pull up in a Beamer, left and not too cardio. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Too far gone, too far gone. Too far gone, too far gone.
You know, one trick I'm using is I have meters on the SSL in front of me, and I'm looking at the meters, and I'm watching for something to react and the fader to still be down and go, like, oh shit, I need to get onto that thing, I need to add that into the mix, the fader's still down. So I'm actually, it's a multi-faceted approach here.
Too far gone, too far gone. Too far gone, too far gone. Like a jockey out, we gon' get it high like the Mojave. And they never needs, I call that designer jeans. So I just do what I please, you already know. Got some money in a mouth. See, I was born overseas, my DNA never needs. So I just do what I please, you already know. Got some money in a mouth. See, I was born overseas, my DNA never needs. I call that designer jeans, so I just do what I please, you already know. Designer jeans, designer jeans. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a Mojave. Got that bump, 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 bump. See, I was born overseas, my DNA never out. Whisper that she out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bump, 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 bump. Out. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey. I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad, how do your nana?
Okay, there's 4:30 left, so I've been mixing for 5.5 minutes, and all 30 tracks are in the mix, and I'm listening to them. Now, I can go to any section that I want, and I can make adjustments because I know everything is getting balanced against everything else, and I am losing time, but that's how I think.
I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad, how do your nana? I'm at the beach, eating some shrimps in a cabana. I'm at the club, popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. See, I was born on I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad? Be my left and not too cardio. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bump, bump, bump. Be my left and not too cardio. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a body shots, I'm making liquor off a body. Oh, bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bum, 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 bum. I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom? Popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. See, I was born overseas, my DNA Lebanese. I call that designer jeans, so I just do what I please. You already popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. Popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. See, I was born overseas, my DNA bitch looking like she do. How do your mom? How do Lebanese? I call it in my bring me the clothes and DNA Lebanese. I call spray the snakes, spray the scammers. Bring me the Beckies and bring me the clothes and bring me the Annas. Too far gone, too far gone. Too far gone, too far gone. Yeah. Too far. Yeah. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a Gotti out. Body shots, I'm making liquor off a body out. Bad bitch, look, she do Pilates at that bum, 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 bum. Put my left in. Bum, 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 bum. Too far gone, too far gone. Too far gone, too far gone. Too far gone, too far gone. Yeah. Too far gone, far gone. Caught up in a left in a Ducati out. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bum, 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 bum. Fake spray the snake, spray. Caught up in a Beamer left in a Ducati out. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bum, 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 bum.
Whew, 10 minutes. That's it. Start to finish. All right. Let's get back to the program. I'll let you listen while I'm vibing. Hang on.
Body shots, I'm licking liquor off a body out. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bum, 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 bum. Caught up in a Beamer left in a Ducati out. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey out. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bum, 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 bum. Too far gone, too far gone.
Whew. All right. Hey, it's Ken Lewis and Mixing Night. Welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in, I just finished the sprint mix of Saad Mojave, his brand new single he dropped last week. He's got a video on YouTube. Mazzy, come here, babe. Mazzy, hey. And welcome to Mazakeen Lewis, who's accepting treats tonight. Lay down, babe. Come on, lay down. Lay down. Good girl. That's right. Gotta have the family around. All right, I'm gonna go straight to Q&A. Before I go to Q&A, I'm gonna do. I talk about this a lot, but if you've never seen me sprint, I want to give you a couple quick sprint mixing tactics. If you were watching, you saw me often just solo something really quick and put it right back in. solo something real quick, put it right back in. Basically what I'm doing is I'm allowing my brain to catalog what I'm listening to and kind of catalog all the attributes about it, brightness, distortion, reverb, well, you know, whatever it is, and where it is in the mix. And then I put it right back in the mix, and then my ear and my brain can follow it around the mix much more easily. My dog is murdering that poor monkey. Mazzy, hey, come here, babe. Oh, jeez, she's such a cutie. All right, so where was I? I can't remember. So yeah, so and the other thing about sprint mixing is the idea for sprint mixing is to teach you to be able to strike great balances instinctually, very quickly, like them and move on. And that helps in every single thing that you ever do in the studio. That skill comes in very handy. So that's what sprint mixing mainly teaches you. And what is she doing over there? She is absolutely going to town. All right. Steven asks from the pre-submitted questions. Steven asks, "Hey Ken, thank you for this last year." Thanks, Steven. It's something you don't have to do, especially with your list of credits, and that you still do it means a lot. I was wondering, what have you learned in the last year, and how has that made you a better mixer? Honestly, I am a better sprint mixer now, hands down, than I was a year ago. I feel like I'm creating the same level of challenges that I created myself for myself a year ago, and I could probably shave a minute or two off and get equally good results. So I think that's just, you know, that's exactly what the sprints are meant to do. Practice and repetition, and at any level that you're at, your mixing can improve just with the sprint mixes. So check them out. Okay, Boss Alvarez asks, "Hey Ken, any tips on how to properly control or handle paying clients that bring alcohol or drugs into the studio?" Fortunately, I don't really. This is not a commercial studio, so I don't know what to tell you. I probably wouldn't be the right person to ask. Nobody comes in the studio that I don't know. At least on some level, and everybody, you know, is respectful. Nobody has ever pulled out a cigarette and just started smoking here. One guy once, and he was out and never came back. He also wanted to smoke weed in the studio, and no. Okay. I love this question. Seba asks, Seba. "Hey Ken, I view your live show from Chile. Great and educational content. Many thanks. Welcome, Chile. We have a place in Ecuador. I go there all the time, although I haven't been since the pandemic hit, so I'm missing it badly. But there will eventually be a Mixing Night Ecuador, probably within the next year." Okay, so Seba's question is, "I have a question eating me up for almost a year. I don't know the technical words to describe it. He's wondering what this effect is." I'm going to play you this effect, and then he's just wondering what this is in this song. So give this a listen, then I'll break it down. Okay. Here comes the big mute. Simple. All this is the producer is throwing whatever, probably vocals or the full mix or all of the melodic instruments into really big reverbs, really big bright reverbs, it sounds like to me. And he's letting those reverbs carry, and then he's automating the returns of those reverbs to just hard cut down. Or it might be a very, very fast volume ramp down. But that's all it is. It's just throwing into a massive amount of reverb and effects or whatever that is, and then just cutting it off hard. And I did something like this similarly when I created the big drums on We Are Young for fun. Tonight. I did that. So one of the tricks to that was I created it. It did have this when I was creating that hit. It had this big, long, huge decay on it. that eventually what I did was I took a filter, I think the UAD Cambridge, and I automated a filter sweep down. And if you go back and you listen to Fun, We Are Young, and listen to that snare hit, you'll hear the end of the snare dive down in a filter sweep. It sounds like it would just be an like a volume cutoff, but it's not. It's more complicated than that, and it imparts a different sound. So listen to that tonight, or the We Are Young snare, and see if you can identify that filter sweep super fast. It's like pew, pew. It literally does that, but it's got a vibe to it. Okay, so I don't think that's what they're doing there. I think it's just a hard cutoff of a massive amount of effects. All right, I'm gonna try and stay on schedule tonight. I'm going to show you a bunch of mix examples from the full mix of Mojave. Let me start pulling that up right now. So I think the full mix is like 109 tracks. It's a lot. In my world, 109 tracks is like a very, very normal day. Sometimes even easy. There's my full mix. Still getting used to this Stream Deck thing. Mazzy, come here, babe. Mazzy is still... Do you see this? This girl is destroying her anniversary toy. Hey, you can't eat the fuzz. Don't eat the fuzz, babe. All right, good girl. That is Mazzy Lewis. She holds it down around here. All right, where was I? Okay. Where do I have any chat roll? Chat roll. Hey, guys. So I have the chat roll over here, and I have questions being fed to me over here. So I'm back and forth, but I'm with you, everybody. Abraham Knowlton asks, "Hey Ken, can you speak about the Manley on your mastering chain?" I indeed can. I believe that I used. Yep, here it is. So this is the full mix of Mojave. If you not the preferences, Ken, system usage, 109. So voices is track count, 109. And you get that by anytime you have a stereo track, it's 2, because what do you call a stereo mix? A 2-track. So stereo track is 2 voices, a mono track is 1 voice. This mix has 109 voices. I'm using the Manley in virtually the same way that I use it when I use it outboard, but outboard it has a lot more headroom than this plugin does. So this plugin doesn't exactly mirror how I use the outboard, but these are my outboard settings exactly, and I never change them. I just feed in the amount of level until I get the amount of result that I want. And that's all I'm doing here. Slowest attack, slowest release, the hardest threshold, so I'm grabbing the most, and I'm also high pass filter side chaining. So everything below 100 hertz is gone, and the compressor is not reacting to that. Sorry, on the side chain, 100 hertz and below is gone. You're still hearing it in the audible chain. It's just not affecting the compressor. So here, let me show you what this compressor is doing on a loud section.
Body out, body shots, I'm making liquor off a body out. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates at that bump, put up in a beamer.
So you can see I'm getting about 4 dB of reduction. When I'm on the Manley on the outboard, it's usually 6 to 10, because the very mu-ish, whatever that mod is that they do to it, doesn't even really start kicking in sonically until you're at about 6 dB of reduction. And I think mostly what I do with the Manley outboard is slam it until I'm saturating the tubes. It's less for compression and more for color. But it just glues everything together like nobody's business. Here's just listen to coming out of the like the soft bridge into the last chorus, how it just glues together. Honestly, I don't know why these settings work. I really, really don't. But I use my ears, and I trust my ears. And one day I just put those settings on, and my ears said, stop what you're doing and pay attention. And I did, and those are my settings. They work for me. They may be terrible for you. I don't know. Well, let me go back to the chat roll. You guys are tuning in tonight. You deserve the most attention. FIP Productions asks, hey Ken, will Mixing Night continue after the entire Earth reopens from COVID? Well, it's going to be a challenge, but yes. And we have goals. I'm going to talk later in the broadcast a little bit about some of the goals moving forward. But I'm definitely planning to do a Mixing Night Europe. Just one broadcast so far. But it's looking like in July I may broadcast from Toulouse, France. I do a 1-week masterclass at a school called ISPRA in Toulouse, France, almost every year. And they've invited me back for July, and if I do that, they have a great audio and video department, and we're going to try and do a mixing night from Europe there. So it'll be daytime here, but it'll be finally nighttime in Europe for the first time. And if it's a big success there, then maybe we do it on off weeks. I don't know. I'm not promising anything. And there's going to be a mixing night Ecuador, and I'll tell you more in a minute. It's good stuff coming. Hey, Ken, when you produce for other artists, this is Paulie C from the chat roll. Hey, Paulie C. Paulie C asks, hey, Ken, when you produce for an artist, do you also mix the track? If so, what time frame do you like to complete the track? I don't really work on time frames when I produce unless we have deadlines. Otherwise, it's just when it hits, when it's right, you just work on it until it's done and everybody's like, yep, we're done. And until you're there, you're not done. Yeah. What was the original question? Oh, yeah. So I usually... It's, being a world-class mixer helps me as a producer so much, because before we have to turn anything in for anybody to listen to, I can do a full mix of wherever the production is. And I usually do that when we all sense that we're about 80 or 90% done. And then we can all listen to as good of a representation of that song as we're going to get before, tiny little tweaks. And we'll know, like, how is the song hitting us fully mixed now? Like, are we there yet? Do we need more revisions? Where are we coming up short? Where can we get more love out of this? And, and that's it. And I think one thing that you have to remember, if you're an independent artist trying to compete in the independent artist world, you're competing against people like me. Because me and Brent, we're the production team Catalyst. We've produced 2 artists now completely independently who have crossed the 100 million streams mark worldwide, and that's Skrizzly Adams and Des Rocks. So you can totally do this independently. It takes a ton of hard work and focus and talent and a great team, but you can do it. Okay. I don't understand that question. Akashanova from the chat roll asks, hey, Ken, do you mix with the master fader up? I think you may have a master fader that goes above 0. My master fader tops out at 0. It starts at the top. So there is no turning up the master fader. It gets turned down. You start with the master fader when you mix all the way up. And I mean, virtually, I almost never touch the master fader. I do automation rides on the master and Pro Tools to do final mix automation even. So virtually the master fader on my SSL almost never gets touched. Let's see, what time is it? 8:34. Okay. We've been doing... So who knew that we had a Discord channel? We have an awesome Discord channel. So it's Mixing Night Discord. The link to find it is probably in the broadcast description. And also, while you're looking in the broadcast description, enter the Arturia Total Studio giveaway before 9:30. You have 55 minutes left. I'm giving it away at 9:40. $2,700 studio hardware, software, the whole works. So enter before 9:40, but come back to us. Don't leave us. So, what else is going on? Who saw my new table? So, I'm hoping that Lori is showing you the camera that I'm pointing to right now. So this is like, it's called epoxy shatter, and it's basically reclaimed hardwood put into a frame and then epoxied, and it has this fucking incredible, amazing, insane look to it. So there's an artist named Joseph Tobia, who has a website called driftandforge.com, who built this for me, and I just took delivery of it yesterday. He also designed and built my console frame, which is also epoxy shatter and hardwood, reclaimed hardwood and epoxy shatter. So that came in this week. I couldn't be happier. It just, fuck this. You know, if you got to be stuck in one room for most of your adult awake life, make that room something that you love being in. And I've been steady during the pandemic. I always used to want, when artists came here, I didn't want it to feel like studio. I wanted it to feel like, oh, you know, we're just at a home, we're just kicking it. Yes, this is a world-class studio, but it just kind of feels like home, so no pressure. But now I'm just like, I want this to feel like my fucking flagship, you know, studio, whatever. So I'm redoing the whole thing, and I'm super happy. It's coming along great. So anyway, Joseph Tobia, thank you so much for building that for me. It looks insane. Oh my god. And you should, I don't know how to do it yet, but the light underneath it, you can like cycle colors and so, oh, it's bananas. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so the beat challenge, all that to get back to the beat challenge. I'm giving you guys a new beat challenge starter. I'm about to play it for you. So, you know, it's just a little more thought out this time, you know. Here we go. So. All right. Okay, so that's the starter for next show's beat challenge. I'll post all the links at Discord and up on the YouTube page as well. And basically, that's a royalty-free loop. You can do whatever you want with it. Chop it up, pitch it, make a different beat out of it, write a completely new song, whatever you want. It's completely royalty-free and yours. If you like what you did, you can submit it by Monday at like 3 p.m. The show is Wednesday, April 14th. And you need to have your entry submitted by Monday, April 12th at like 3 o'clock Eastern, to info@mixingnight.com. info@mixingnight.com. And you can download this starter in the description right now, I think. If it's not there, Dominic is about to put it there. But I'll play it for you one more time. So this is the starter. I expect a lot of hip-hop beats out of this, but I'm also interested to see if anybody writes full songs or just flips it in some, like, the beat challenges. I have so much fun judging the beat challenges because you guys take these things creatively in the most amazing different directions that is just mind-blowing. And it's such an educational insight into production because it really shows you how much there are no right or wrong answers. It's just wherever your creativity takes you. It really is. So here's the starter one more time. All right, that's the starter. Okay. What is next on The Price is Right? I think I'll... ear training is going to be soon. Ear training is maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I'll do a little bit more Q&A. Maybe I'll show something. Let me see what I have on my things to show. Nope. Not really much. It's all Mojave tonight. Okay. Gary Cedar asks, I'm a guitarist, and if I record a live instrument part for a song that requires several takes and stems to get the part right, do I provide the mixer all of the stems unedited and trust them to mix the best parts, or what should I do? Gary, you need a producer. The mixer, you should only hand off to the mixer what the mixer is supposed to mix. So the vocals should be comped, the guitar should be comped, everything recording wise should be cleaned up, organized, labeled, put together well. If creatively you are not the right person to make some of these decisions, then you should find another creative entity to work with you on the music, which is usually a producer, until all of the music is recorded the way that you want it. Then you hand it off to a mixer. That's how that goes. Nicholas asks, "Hey Ken, can you show us a sprint mix in Logic using only stock plugins? Thanks." Nicholas, I might be able to do this at some point, but the problem is mostly that Logic doesn't talk to the SSL well. And I mix these in the box using the controller section of the SSL. So that's another reason why I use Pro Tools so much with this, because it's most compatible with the SSL software for some strange reason. So, but in the sprints, I almost don't use any plugins at all. It's usually reverbs and stuff, and I would easily use stock reverbs. The Logic stock, the whole Logic stock plugin collection period is really first class, from their instruments to their effects. All that stuff is really, really good. You could easily use only the stock and get great results. Okay, George asks, "Hey Ken, for somebody who mixes hip-hop entirely in the box with UAD, is there an outboard gear that you would recommend to elevate my sound?" Okay, so you use all UAD in the box. I assume that you're using Luna. I've heard great things about Luna. I haven't used it. I just don't have time to learn new shit. But I use UAD like crazy, and you know. Outboard gear to elevate your sound. Speakers or headphones or both is number one. Converters would be the next thing. It's all monitoring, you know. It's all making sure that what is coming, if you're mixing in the box, the most important thing is to make sure that what's coming out of the box sounds exactly the way it's supposed to when it hits your eardrums. So treating your room, getting a pair of speakers really dialed in well, getting a pair of headphones that you trust really well. All of those things I think are more important than like the ultimate piece of outboard gear. I think we just lost the Mazzy cam. That would be a drag. Bummer. So, okay. I'm going to go to ear training. I'm going to show you some Jod Saad before I go to ear training. I'm going to show you these 808s. Because I did a bunch of really subtle things with the 808s. And in the full mix, there's a low 808 and a high 808. I'll play them both for you. This is low. High. And the two combined. So you get that nice cutting mid-range and you get that really nice subby component. But really important, I put everything through, this is SoundRadix Auto Align. There's a bunch of companies that make a bunch of Auto Align plugins. Get one, they're super, when you need them, man, you need them. I set, because the higher 808 is the main driver of the song, I wanted everything to be locked into that. No, I didn't either. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So I set the sub 808 as my main, and then I made my high 808 look at the sub 808 and correct itself, and it was 313 samples off. So listen to the difference. You can just hear that the low end gets a little bit more solid, and it, like when I turn this off, you'll hear it get less solid, and it'll flam just ever so slightly. Okay, so that's step one. Always check your phase. Then I hit it with this the Wolf compressor. This thing is nasty. It just does weird things. I'm using it pretty subtly here. And then big bottom, just to give it a little bit of oomph of the Aphex. Really not that much going on. The most important thing is really the auto align, just to make sure that even if you have single kick hits that always hit at the same time as an 808. You got to check every single one of those hits, because especially with a moving 808 line, some kicks will utterly cancel themselves out against that 808, and some will reinforce themselves. So sometimes what you'll end up having is a song where some of the kicks are really loud and some of the kicks completely disappear depending on where you are in your 808 line, and that is all because of phase canceling between the 808 and the kick drum. All right. That's what that is. I'm going to put this aside for a moment, and I'm going to go to ear training because I'm having a blast with this one. Okay, so ear training tonight is phaser, flanger, chorus, rapid fire phaser, flanger, chorus. And I used all the, I'll show you what I used. Where is it? Come on. Seriously? Ah. Maybe I won't. So here we go. These are the plugins I used. This is Flanger, Phaser, and Dimension D chorus. I actually have a real Dimension D sitting right down there. I have the UAD Dimension D. It's spot on perfect. The Arturia Dimension D is spot on perfect. And I love these phasers and flangers. Wait till you hear them. All the examples were kind of created with those. And we're giving those away as part of the package later on tonight. Ear training. And okay. If so, download your ear training worksheet. It's in the description of the video you're watching right now. Just open it up and download the worksheet so that you can follow along. It's a multifaceted challenge tonight. You have to guess. So I'm only putting the effect on the lead vocal alone. So there's a full mix, and then there's a lead vocal, and I've taken all of the other spatial effects off, and I've added one of those three things. And you have to tell me which one it is. And then the bonus is the added effect in mono or stereo? So headphones might help you here. So this is a total of 28 points. There's 14 examples, 28 total points to get. Every single one of them is either going to be chorus, phaser, or flanger, mono, or stereo. And I'm going to play you... So I'm going to do this in rapid fire. I'm going to play you the... first example that I'm going to use for 1 through 8 dry, so that you can really key in on what the vocal sounds like, and because everything else is going to be affected vocal. And then if you're looking at the screen, you see 1 2 3 4 through 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So I'm going to do 1 through 4 twice through, and then I'm going to move to 5 through 8 twice through. You get it. Okay, so here's the dry example of group 1 and group 2.
Follow me, let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Want you to.
All right, so that's the dry vocal. All right, this is example 1 through 4. You've got to watch the screen when the color in the track changes. That changes the number on your list. 1 through 4.
Come and follow me. Let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Put you over the edge. You will never forget. I'm gonna heal you, steal you. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell.
Okay, you catching on? All right, one more listen through, and then I'm going to group 2. Here's group 1, examples 1 through 4. Phaser, flanger, chorus, and stereo or mono effect.
Come and follow me. Let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Put you over
All right, that's your 2 listens through of group 1. Here's your 2 listens through of group 2. This is number 5. 6.
Give me what I need. Your devotion endlessly.
7.
Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge. You will never forget. I'm gonna
8.
heal you, steal you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Put you under my spell.
All right, that's examples 5 through 8. Here they come one more time for you. 5 through 8.
Give me what I need. Your devotion endlessly. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Hold you over the edge. You will never forget. I'm gonna heal you, steal you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Put you under my spell.
All right, that's 5 through 8. How are you doing so far? Post up on the chat roll and let me know how you're doing. All right, here is the example for 9 through 14. So listen to this. It's a distorted vocal. I left the distortion on. This is the Upside Down. I've sprint mixed this before, so a lot of you might be familiar with this song. The other one is Temptation by Sugar Jesus and KRN. Love that song. Okay, so this is the Upside Down. This is the dry example, and then I will play you 9 through 12, group 3. Here's the dry for group 3 and 4.
Leaders and kings of different kinds, they all try to change my mind. I'm living life on a bended knee and suffocating on hypocrisy.
Okay, so that's the unaffected vocal. Now you're going to get 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to give you 2 listens through. You got to watch the screen to see when they change. Here we go. 9.
Leaders and kings of different kinds, they all try to change my mind. I'm living life on a bended knee and suffocating on hypocrisy.
All right, that was 10. 11 is coming up. 11.
They're looking left and moving right. They're waiting on me to fall in line. Throwing punches only feeds the beast. Another victim of the big machine.
All right, that's 9 through 12. Here comes your second listen at 9 through 12.
Leaders and kings of different kinds, they all try to change my mind. I'm living life on a bended knee and suffocating on hypocrisy.
$11.
They're looking left and moving right. They're waiting on me to fall in line. Throwing punches only feeds the beast. Another victim of the big machine.
Yeah. All right. So that's group 3. That was examples 9 through 12. Okay. Here's group 4, the bonus round. Examples 13 and 14. You get 2 listens through. 13.
There are spies, but it can be certain. Paying attention to the man behind the curtain. An evil smile with a brand new sheen. He's selling lies from a TV screen. Here's a charade now.
All right, one more listen through. 13 and 14 coming at you.
There are spies, but it can be certain. Paying attention to the man behind the curtain. An evil smile with a brand new sheen. He's selling lies from a TV screen.
All how did you all do? Well, I'm going to put up the results now. How do you think that you did? That is really the $64,000 question. All right, let me launch the answers. All right, here's the answers. I'll keep them up on screen for you while I'm playing these down. Here's group 1 and 2. I'm just going to play through this to start. You can watch on screen and follow along. So flanger, chorus, phaser, flanger, mono, stereo, mono, stereo.
Come and follow me. Let me be the air you breathe. I'm your fantasy. Once you come, you never leave. Want you to be there to feel me get inside your head. Put you over the edge. You will never forget. I'm gonna heal you, steal you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Got you under my spell.
All right, how'd you do? Here's group 2, numbers, examples 5 through 8. Chorus. Mono chorus.
Give me what I need. Your devotion endlessly. Want you to be there to feel me again.
Stereo phaser.
Hold you over the edge. You will never forget. I'm gonna heal you.
Mono flanger.
Steal you away from yourself. Put you under my spell. Put you under my spell.
All right, that's 5 through 8. How are you doing so far? Here comes 9 through 12, and 13 and 14. So this is group 3 and group 4. I'm going to play group 3. Phaser, chorus, chorus, flanger, mono, stereo, mono, stereo.
Leaders and kings of different kinds, they are trying to change my mind. I'm living life on a bended knee and suffocating on hypocrisy. They're looking left and moving right. They're waiting on me to fall in line. Throwing punches only feeds the beast. Another victim of the big machine.
And the bonus round, 13 and 14, both stereo phasers. Who got those? And post up your scores on the chat roll. Let me know how you did. Best out of 28. Let me know how you did.
There are stars, but it can be certain. Paying attention to the number on the curtain. An evil smile with a brand new sheen. Just selling lies from a TV screen. Here's a charade now.
Nice. All right. How'd you guys do? I see a bunch of people some really great results on the chat roll. Some people struggling. Listen, if you're struggling with this, welcome to the club. Man, everybody is at kind of a different place in their arc of, experience and skills and creativity and everything. And this is a journey for everybody. So if you're struggling with that, you are in the right place. Show up 2 weeks from now and, do the next year training and just, keep working at it. Have fun, enjoy it, and work at it. All right. So that was a rapid fire phaser flanger chorus. Hope you guys did really well. Somebody got a 27 out of 28. Boom. That's very impressive. I'm not sure that I would have scored a 27 out of 28 if I was playing. So, good on you. What's next? Get a bit more Q&A, and then I'm going to go to Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, in a little bit. I wanted to give the anniversary update of what's going on. So this is the anniversary show. It's been 1 year. We started during lockdown a year ago, and we've been broadcasting ever since. And what a crazy, insane journey it's been. This is our obsession now. We love putting on the show, and it's just It's such an honor to be able to do it. And thank you for tuning in. And whoever has tuned in more than once and multiple times, man, awesome. Please, everybody out there, tell everybody about Mixing Night, because that is, everything is so oversaturated content-wise now that chances are, if somebody that you know doesn't tell you directly, yo, dude, you gotta check out Mixing Night, that shit is crazy. If you just see it, you're gonna be like, next. I know, I do the same thing. Okay. I want to thank a bunch of people who actively help with this show, and God, I hope I haven't missed anybody. If I miss somebody, I apologize profusely. But the people who actively help this show, my wife, Lori Lewis, she is always running the cameras. So anytime you see some switching or anything going on, she is back there paying attention to every single thing going on and making sure this show runs smoothly. She's been doing it from the beginning. It's amazing. Dominic Ravinius, who co-founded the show with us, and he's on the chat roll right now. He's actually in Germany feeding me questions live. So we got a good system working out. Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, you've been an absolute rock star. Rory Miller. Rory Miller founded our Mixing Night Discord channel, and then he's just been really an incredible asset to the show and to me over the course of the last year. And as my vaccinations came through, I was like, you know what? I need an assistant again. It's been like a year since I've been able to have an assistant. And so I hired Rory Miller as my assistant, and all because of this show. So Rory starts tomorrow, and I'm going to be busting his ass. But man, expect amazing things from that guy. Because he's a young guy, incredibly talented. Man, if he keeps his head screwed on straight, he's going to be the fucking next Max Martin. So don't let that go to your head, Rory. That's a lot of work between that and now. Will Villa. Will was absolutely crucially instrumental in helping with setting up the show and the cameras and the lighting early on. We never could have put this together without him. Christine Kern, same way. Me and Christine go way back, and she did a bunch of skits early for us, and she did a lot of help for the show. Matt Thrasher is always helping. Jason Lee, Nora Hayden. Angelo Dodaro is a fucking rock star promoting for us. Thank you so much, Angelo. And also, big shout outs to everybody who has entered the beat challenges and the mixing contests. I mean, I can't tell you guys how much fun that shit is to judge. Half the time, I'm like dancing around this fucking control room with the music on stun level, just letting it go from one selection to the next, and just absolutely dumbstruck by the creativity that you guys have. You take one starter that I feed you up, and you take it down 20 different paths that's just like mind-blowingly creative. It's so much fun. And the mixing contests have been really great too. I'm going to do another one of those soon, but I got to find something really cool for you guys to mix. What else? So, and Mike Heebs has been a big help for the show. Thank you, Mike Heebs. Mike Heebs just put together that Ken Lewis Jedi Master Spotify playlist of like over 500 songs that I've worked on in my career, which was just bananasville. So thank you, Mike Heebs. That shit was crazy. I've been listening to that. That's like my go-to. I'll just put it up. And the cool thing about having a playlist of like 29 years of my work is the brain has this really interesting way, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, of accessing information the moment that it hears an audio cue. So listening back to a lot of these songs that I've worked on in my past, it transports me in my memories to those sessions in real time in ways that I would have never thought about those, and maybe would have never even found those in the memory banks in the future. So that's just been a really cool thing for me. Thank you, Mike Heebs. And check it out. I think if you just go to Spotify and search Ken Lewis Jedi Master, the playlist will come right up. The show. So we're heading into vaccinated land, and now I get to travel again, and I travel a lot to work, and it's tough to keep a live show going when I'm going to be all over the world. So we've been thinking like, okay, how do we still put together a totally kick-ass show and keep it totally free for you guys, but justify keeping it going post-pandemic. And what we came up with was we're going to put out a plugin. And not just any plugin. You're going to fucking love this fucking... I love this plugin. Everybody I've shown this shit to is just like, yeah. As soon as it's available. Yes, please. I'm not going to tell you too much. We have a working audio copy of it. It sounds... Oh my... This audio is so cool. So easy to use. The presets are phenomenal. It's super functional. It's super fun to use. Lori did the graphic design of it, and then we're handing it off to Telegraph Creative for the full high-level design. The whole team on this is bananas. I mean, we're super excited. So maybe 2 months, we're going to have a dope-ass plugin for all of you guys. So, and the hope is that we sell enough copies of the plugin that we can fund the show to continue to move forward. So you guys still get a free show. Anybody who wants a really inexpensive, amazing plugin can buy it and help the show out. And that's that. So, yeah. And like I said, we're going to possibly broadcast from Europe this year and possibly South America this year. So I'm going to be all over the place. And I don't know, maybe, I've thought about, although nobody's asked me yet, of broadcasting from like universities, programs around America, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Anyway, what is next on The Price is Right? So that's kind of where the show's going. Oh, the other thing that I might do is, let me back up. My favorite living artist is a guy named Kenneth Wayne Alexander II. You can find him on Instagram at Novi Artwork. Novi Artwork. And look at some of his... He does motion art. His stuff is so fucking amazing. God, I love his work. So, he's been my favorite artist for the longest. And we're friends and we know each other real well. And when this whole NFT craze started popping off, I was like, oh, what? We're all trying to figure this shit out and be like, is this for me? I don't know. So... Me and Kenny are talking about potentially collaborating on an NFT. It's not going to be some ridiculous thing. It's going to be inexpensive. It'll feature his art and something from, I don't know. We're working it out. I think it's going to be cool. We'll see. I don't know. But I'll tell you, if you definitely check out Novi Artwork, Kenny Wayne Alexander is one gifted artist. Man, I love his stuff. One of his pieces is hanging as a centerpiece in my house downstairs. So thanks, Kenny. Okay, what's next? You still have 20 minutes to enter the Arturia challenge. I'm giving away a $2,700 Arturia package at $940, and it's $909. And if you haven't entered yet, open up a new tab on your browser and enter the contest, and then come right back to us. And I'm giving it away live in a few minutes. Ooh, that's exciting. Actually, Dom. Lori, take the screen off for a second. It's been so long since we've done a big giveaway like this that I don't exactly remember how to do it, so I'm just going to have to poke around and figure out how to do the giveaway when it's time, but I'll try not to fuck it up too badly. Okay, so I think we're caught back up on the show. I'm going to get you back to fun examples and shit and not bore you with stuff, but I'm sure the people who just got shouted out were not bored at all, and those people really... It would be very, very difficult to run this show without a massive amount of help from other people, and we really, really appreciate it, and we think about you guys all the time. And we really love putting the show on for you guys. It's just so much fun. And hopefully we'll keep doing it and sell a ton of plugins and fund the show. So we'll see. Okay, what is next, Ken? Next on the agenda is Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. So Marcus has been with the show almost from the beginning. He's done probably almost 24 of these segments by now. Marcus always brings you the most amazing free content, usually like free plugins, free apps, free sounds, free everything. These are going to be Arturia iOS apps. I think they're not free, but they're all like super, super cheap. And I mean, the power that you get, Dude, when I was a kid, I spent $1,000 on a shitty keyboard that was incredible at the time. That gave me only a few sounds, and you couldn't do almost anything on it. Now, with an iPad, I can spend 20 or 30 bucks on software and run circles around what you could do with that. So I'm jealous and impressed with what you guys get nowadays to make music with, and I make music on the iPad all the time. So Marcus is going to show you some iPad loops. Thank you, Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery.
What's good, everyone? This is Marcus Manderson back with another Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment. In this Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment, we're going to talk all about Arturia, specifically Arturia apps that you can use on iOS, and I also believe the iPhone, but these are available on the iOS App Store that you can purchase, not necessarily for free. I believe all of them are $9.99. So we're going to dive in on one of them specifically, but right here you can see they have iSpark, they have iProfit synthesizer, iSim synthesizer, and iMini synthesizer. I'll just dive into a little bit of some of these here. This is the iSpark interface. You can get more information about it there. This is the iProfit interface. iSim, which is the one we're going to use today, you can see that here, and I'll dive in more onto that one shortly. And then finally you have iMini. They have videos that play, and you can read more information about these plugins. So I'm going to jump on over to Beatmaker 3, where I have iSim already loaded up, and we're just going to come up with an idea, a melody. So let's go through, give you an idea of some of the sounds. I really like that one. Let's go to a bass. Like an alien bass sound. Here's some brass. And these are just factory presets. There are also categories you can download from people who have created presets. Let's go to effects. Oh man, that's awesome. Keyboard. Lead sounds. Let's see, we got synth and template, so you can build your sound from there. I'm going to go to Woodwinds, and I'm just going to record some ideas. That's idea one. Next, we'll find a sound, maybe one of those arpeggio sounds. Let's go with that. And we'll find one more sound to, maybe a lead sound. Yeah, so that's the gist. That is Arturia. Definitely check out the Arturia apps on iOS. Like I said, most, if not all of them, are $9.99. This has been Marcus Manderson with another Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.
Thank you, Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. I love your segments. Always bringing the heat. So for those that don't know, we have a Discord Mixing Night channel, and over at the Discord Mixing Night channel, Marcus posts a segment. There's like a free stuff segment, and that's where he accumulates all of the free stuff from each episode. So if budget's tight, man, we got the solution for you. So go to the Mixing Night Discord and check out all the stuff Marcus has posted up there. And, you know, it's not just like cheap free plugins. There are some really powerful tools that he finds. He really finds some great stuff. Okay. What is next on The Price is Right? Q&A. Okay. I guess I can start breaking down that mix just about any time. Mojave. Did I play? I played you a little bit of the video, but here's a little bit more of the video while it's launching.
Hello, we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Fakes, bury the snakes, bury the scammers. Bring me the Beckies and bring me the Chloes and bring me the Annas. Look what I built, show me respect, Tony Montana. Hey, I got a feeling that you got a feeling that I got the answer, yeah, yeah. See, I was born overseas, my DNA.
Man, tough song, man. All right. So here's the full mix. I've got a bunch of notes on stuff that I'm going to show you guys about it, but fire away on the chat roll with any live questions that you want me to show you, anything you want me to break down further, whatever it is. Floating Sky Music on the chat roll asks, hey Ken, what compressor is your go-to? When I record, my vocal compressor is a Thermionic Culture The Phoenix. It's a Varimu tube compressor. When I mix, it's any number of things, but usually Kramer Pi is on the vocal, the UAD Distressor is on the vocal, any number of EQs, doesn't matter. Waves de-esser I use. Let's see. Alright. Okay. Full mix breakdown. I showed you guys the 808s, so I'm not going to do that. Here's the first thing that that you're going to notice. So it's 109 voices. Look at how few plugins I'm using. This is a running theme in my mixes. Look at how few plugins I'm using. All those tracks, empty. No plugins, no sends, no nothing. And then you see like the vocals, yeah, the vocals start stacking up a lot. And now and here's my effects. So it's kind of back to sprint mixing. The number one most important thing about mixing is striking great balances that feel great. That's the key. Mixing is about feel. It's about sonics, but it's less about sonics and more about how those sonics make you feel. And when people are just focused on listening to the sonics and not clued into how those sonics are emotionally affecting you, then that's a detachment. So I only add plugins when I listen to something and I go, does this need anything? Do I need to EQ it? Do I need to compress it? Does it need to be, you know, filtered, or do I need to add a reverb to it? And if the answer is no, then I don't add anything. I balance it, and then I always leave myself open to the possibility that I'm going to come back and do something else to it. But you see, when I was sprint mixing earlier, I was telling you guys, you know, I get everything into the mix as fast as I can, and then I kick back and I evaluate. And I evaluate very slowly. So I made a 109 track mix. Guaranteed, every single track of this was in the mix in the first hour, at least. And then probably hour 2 through 8 were very slow, methodical, vibey, listening, you know, not a whole lot of thought, just letting the speakers play and just listening to the song and asking myself, what does the song need? Not thinking, you know, oh, do I need 10K? Do I need 100 hertz? And don't think in math. Okay. So that's the first thing that I really want to impress upon you guys is the lack of, you do not have to put an EQ and a compressor on every, look at, it's almost empty. mixing is mostly about balances. That's why I'm trying to get you guys to do these sprint mixes, because you can see the results of the sprint mixes. I mean, this is a final mix. This is a final mix, and they loved it. And it's just about making sure that, look, I mean, they probably gave me stems that would have made the most sense lined up, and then I just put my own spin on how it made me feel. I'll get into some specifics. I already showed you the 808. I also aligned the kick to the 808 sub. Remember I was telling you earlier that sometimes when kicks hit with 808s, they cancel certain frequencies out. So this at least corrects some, maybe all of those. I'm sure I listened before, but that's the only thing I'm doing to the kick. You know, this is the thing that especially young engineers get too caught up in the gear, and you don't kind of have the perspective yet to say that most producers, certainly when I produce, mostly I'm picking sounds because of the way they sound, because of the way that they hit me emotionally, because of the way that they sound sonically, because of what they're doing. So most of the work on that sound has already been done. Most things come out of a box nowadays sounding almost immaculate, and all you got to do is find the right level for them and maybe carve them out a little bit to, leave room for a vocal. But, aside from that, there's a whole lot of just balancing to get things to feel right. And then, like in this case, here's an interesting one. I have a classic reverb on the snare. So this is snare clap. I'll play it. This is a classic reverb. So this is from, the original algorithm is from a Lexicon PCM 70. It's called Tiled Room 1. And it was used on a ton of records in the 70s, 80s, 90s. That PCM 70 was still in most studios by the 2000s. So this is a really, engineers and mixers and producers know this sound a lot. And that's where you find it. It's Lexicon Rooms. The PCM rooms in drum rooms, and it's the very first one, Tiled Room 1. That's where you find it. Rooms, drum rooms, Tiled Room 1 on the Lexicon room, the Lexicon PCM room. Okay. And then on the hi-hats, a lot of times I try and carve the hi-hats so they kind of wrap around the vocals, and you can see that's exactly what I'm doing here. So if you kind of know your frequency ranges, where are the hi-hats? Okay, so generally speaking, 2 to 4K is the vocal enunciation frequencies. That's where the vocals are clearest and easiest to understand. They're also where the vocals can be the harshest and most piercing, so everything comes in shades. But I'm basically pulling a little bit of 2K and 4K out of the hi-hats so that the chunkiness of the hi-hat doesn't get so in the way of the vocals. It's not a huge move, it's 6 dB. So, and then to compensate, I'm taking some of the energy that I lost by pulling 2 and 4K out, and I'm adding it back at 8K at plus 3 dB and 16K at plus 10 dB. And so basically all I'm doing is, it's probably, if you listen to the overall perceived volume of it in bypass and normal, it's probably about the same volume because I've shifted some of the energy from the mid-range to the high frequency. Listen to what I've done. And honestly, I didn't even give a second thought to the rest of what's happening below like 2K. There's a little bit of stuff going on down there, but the song is pretty dense, and it's just not worth spending extra time or extra brain power to clean that stuff up. But you could have easily done something like this. Yeah, finally at 500 I start losing something, and it's really the wood block that's low in the mix, not even the hi-hat. Okay, so moving on from the hi-hats. You know, I get asked all the time, I don't use templates, so there's not like a Ken Lewis template floating around. But what I do is I have a style that I like my mixes prepared. And Rory Miller starts tomorrow as my new assistant, so he's learning the formula. And it's basically 808s at the top. This is how I lay out every session. 808s at the top. If there's no 808s at the top, it's drums at the top, usually heaviest to lightest. So, you know, kicks and things like that, then snares, claps, snaps, and then hats and rides, and then percussion and stuff down below that. So, and you see I color code everything as well, so that visually I don't have to look at any names. I can just go like, oh, my 808s are always purple, my kicks are always blue, my snares are always light blue, my hats are orange, all my other hats and percussion are yellow, my all my steel drums and those types of main melody instruments are orange on this. My guitars are green. You know, and I kind of have this system. Sound effects are always brown. Lead vocals are red. Backing vocals are pink. Usually I didn't go through this whole thing, and because I think there's too many different types of vocals. And then we have these AU vocals, which I just made yellow again. So, but and then everything is strip silence. So when I'm looking at this, I can tell just from looking at this portion of my session that this is probably hook 2, this is probably hook 1, this is the intro, and this is the outro hook. And this is probably bridge right here. And chances are this is a verse, maybe a verse into a pre, and chances are this is a verse and a verse into a pre. And I got that just from looking at a few of the drums. So anytime I'm in my session, I have a pretty good idea of chorus, chorus, chorus. You know, bridge, you know, verse, verse. And it helps with workflow quite a bit. So, and everything is stacked up really organized, so I don't have to go hunting for things. The left side, the way my naming conventions are, is really important to me. All of my names are very simple. And that's so that they don't... See, even this, Snake Charmer Low, is so many characters that it spills out past that. So I would normally do something like... Maybe that. Yeah, well, that looks like Snake Charm L. So I may just dip the A. There. There. That, Snake Charm Low. Okay, I know exactly what that is. Now, this is going to be Snake Charm Dry. Boom. Alright, that makes sense. See, now I'm not looking at some jumble of letters and trying to decipher what the fuck could that possibly mean. That's like, oh, that's that snake thing. Okay, great. Yeah, see, all of these need to be renamed. I would normally shorten all of these. I don't know why I didn't on this. Probably because I prepped it myself and I'm lazy. So, you know, when you don't have an assistant, shit falls through the cracks. Not the important stuff. Just the prep stuff. What else? I showed you the graphics on the hi-hats. What else is there to show on this? Oh. I can show you... Do I have chat roll questions? Corey Jacobs from the chat roll asks, hey Ken, show us how to control... How do you control that bass? How do you control that bass? I think I showed that earlier in the broadcast. It's... So I used auto-align plugins to match the alignment of the high 808 with the low 808. And then I combined both of those into an aux, and I hit the Wolf compressor just a little bit. This thing is a nasty, you know, it gives you a certain color, which I really like. It's got a sound to it. And then the Aphex Big Bottom, which is great in small amounts. This thing, man, a 7 on this is a big addition. And that's all I did on the 808. Lead vocal on verse 1. I wanted to show you guys this effect I have on the lead vocal.
I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad, how do your nana? I'm at the beach eating some shrimps in the cabana.
Do you hear how you may have not even thought like, oh, that vocal's dry? Yeah, it's supposed to sound dry, but it's not dry at all. When you hear it in solo, you hear something going on. Is it reverb? Is it what the fuck is it?
I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad, how do your nana? I'm at the beach eating some shrimps in the cabana. I'm at the club popping some bottles and wearing pajamas. I'm in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Atlanta. How do your mom, how do your dad, how do your nana? I'm at the beach eating some shrimps in the cabana. I'm at the club popping some bottles and wearing pajamas.
This is the preset that I used on the 50 Cent Down on Me mix. The Jeremiah 50 Cent Down on Me mix. I use this very preset to spread out definitely 50s vocals. I think both 50s and Jeremiah's. And it's basically like a classic Eventide H3000 pitch spreader. Speaking of H3000, who knew that Dave Derr, the owner of Empirical Labs and designer of the Distressor, also was on the design team that invented the Eventide H3000. That dude. What a storied career he's had and is still having. What a great guy. Let's see. Harold Sanchez from the chat roll asks, hey, Ken, what's your take on plugins versus hardware? There are very, very few pieces of hardware that I think are truly important anymore. I like hardware because I like hardware, and it makes me feel more creative. And if hardware makes you feel more creative, then that is the reason that you should get it. I think you should have a great outboard mic pre and a great microphone and great speakers and possibly great headphones if you don't have a great listening environment. And aside from that, there are very few outboard pieces that I feel can't be mimicked in the box. And then it comes down to a tactile experience. What gets you the best end result? Because for me, only looking at a screen and only manipulating stuff on a screen and mixing that way drives me nuts. In the box, I just can't do. I need faders in front of me. So even if I'm mixing completely in the box, I'm on the SSL and I'm doing all of at least my level controls and my listening kicked back at a console, able to grab any fader that I want, make any move on the, shift around and scan the whole thing really quickly. Don't have to touch the mouse. I don't have to look at the screen. And it's a much more liberating experience for me. And I believe that for me, my end results are better because I live and float in the analog world. People who have only mixed in the box with a mouse and that's all you know, that might be the best thing for you. Because, I mean, let's face it, if you were put down in front of this console and you didn't know how to use it, you'd probably make it sound like shit. So, it takes some skill to run one of these things. And just like mixing with a mouse in the box. So if that's your comfort zone, man, stick to where you feel the most creative. That's really the key. What makes you feel the most creative? Because that's going to get you the best end results in the short and the long run. Murray Webster asks, hey Ken, how much time do you take to check out and compare plugins? I virtually never compare plugins, and I never compare them to like their hardware outboard counterparts. I just really could care less. They're just tools. Every single one of these things is just a tool, and I pick the tools that make me feel creative and that I enjoy using and that look fun on the screen and that and that sound the way that I want something to sound. But honestly, there's really not a ton of difference perceptually or otherwise between a stock equalizer and the very best plug-in equalizers. There's not a whole lot of difference. You know, the difference is in the tactile experience of using it that gets you a certain result. Or maybe the difference is in the way the curve of the Pultec is that, you know, is hard to mimic. But all of that stuff is mimicable with stock stuff if you know what you're doing. So then it just comes down to, you know, creativity and what makes you feel most creative, you know. For me personally, stock plugins drive me crazy, and I like the high-end shit. You know, I am who I am. Let's see. Paulie C asks, did you listen to a rough mix before you mixed Mojave? Yes. I always, anytime I have a client mix come in, and this came in as a client mix, and it's produced by Pom Pom and Greg Wattenberg. The artist is Saad. Song is Mojave. Where was I? What was I talking about? So the song came in as a client mix. I always ask for a rough mix, and I will sit and vibe. Either while I'm setting up the mix, I'll just let the rough mix play nice and loud in the background, or I'll just sit and listen to it and vibe for 2, 3, 4, 5 listens through, until I just kind of, you know, I'm looking to get a picture in my mind of where I want to take that song, not just as a mixer, but as a creative. Where do I hear the creative finish line for what I'm hearing right now, and where do I hear in my brain where I want to take it? And I start putting that together right on my first listen. And then, you know, a few listens in, and I basically have that kind of roadmap mapped out in my brain that I can reference, and then I don't really need to listen to the rough mix for a while. Every half hour or so, I might bounce back and forth between the rough and the main and just see, like, how, you know, how's it going? Am I missing anything really terribly right now? Did I, you know, completely forget to put the shaker in, and the shaker happens to be the loudest thing in the mix? It happens. So, you know, I bounce back and forth between the rough a few times throughout the mix. And actually, now would be a good time to actually do that. So I'll play you. This is, I can switch back and forth between my final mix and the rough mix in real time. So what you're hearing when you see me switch and you hear a slight change and one get ever so slightly not as good, that's the rough mix. And the rough mix is pretty darn good on this, so I'm not hating on it at all. They did a really solid job. Here's the AB.
Please, you already know. Overseas, my DNA never needs. I call that design jeans, so I just do what I please. You already know, no. Yeah. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a cardio. Body shots, I'm making liquor off of cardio. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bump. Put up in a beamer, left in a Ducati. Whisper that she wanna ride me like a jockey. Tell her we gon' get it high like the Mojave. Got that bump.
So, you know, most of the time, so, you know, sometimes as a mixer, you just hear a song and you're like, holy shit, I can take this to someplace magical, and they're either going to love it or fire me, and I'm willing to risk it. And, you know, a few mixes a year, I really just tear apart, and I just do that because I hear a different direction, and that's gotten me a lot of work. And it's gotten me fired, but, you know, that happens. But, you know, if you don't take the big swings, man, you're never going to get the big results. But why was I telling you that? I can't remember why I was telling you that. What's that? Oh, yeah, so I was talking about the rough mixes. Yeah, so, you know, there's always something about the rough mix that informs you near the end. Almost always. I'm sure near the end of my mix, I bounce back and forth between the rough, and I was listening for anything, a moment, a sound effect, a hi-hat, you know, an ad-lib or something from the rough that I'm just like, oh, shit, that's way better in the rough. And there's almost always going to be something about that because, you know, if the producers are good, and the producers are great in this one, then that ruff is going to be really indicative of the feel that they're going for. So you need to make sure that you're at least paying attention to the feel that they captured initially. If it's a solid rough mix, sometimes you get a rough mix and you realize they don't know how to mix at all, and that's why they've hired you. So there you go. All right. What's that? 940. What is... Oh, it's giveaway time. Oh my God, it's giveaway time. I hope I don't screw this up. It's been a while since I've given anything away. Oh, here, Dominic's giving... Thank you, Dominic. Dominic's giving me instructions on... Okay. Okay. We did... Hopefully you guys have seen this. But if you haven't, snooze, lose. It just finished. Yeah. Okay. And then when I draw winners, it'll go. Okay. So I'm not going to draw winners yet. I'm going to talk about this for a second. We I don't think I can show it, but anyway, we gave away an Arturia Fuse Studio interface with 4 mic pre's, a 49 key Keylab controller, and the FX Collection 8. The V Collection 8, which I love, and pigments, which I use all the time, especially with my Rolly back there. If you don't know what a Rolly is, man, the Rollies are like the most cool real-time capture instruments. But Pigments works with Rolly really, really well. So if you have a Rolly, definitely check out Pigments. The FX Collection is included in the giveaway. And that's all the plugins. If you heard ear training tonight, all those flangers and stuff are all in the FX Collection. And the modulators, those are the modulators. So I don't know how many people we had enter, but it was quite a lot. And so for the anniversary episode, I get to draw a winner, and here we go. The winner of the Arturia Total Studio giveaway is... Oh, come on. One winner to draw, yes. No. Yeah. Oh, no, don't allow. One winner. Is this it? I think so. Draw. And the winner is... Who is it? I can't... Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill from Redford. Is that Missouri? M.I.? Michigan? It's Missouri M.O. Michigan is M.I. Okay. Redford, Michigan. Stephen Hill wins the Arturia Total Studio Package. Thank you for saving us a ton of shipping costs and shipping this around the world. We shipped a Distressor down to Colombia, a hardware Distressor last year down to Colombia, and we shipped an Apollo X8 over to the UK. So this one's only going to Michigan. Man, Stephen Hill, dude, I expect a report back from you about this stuff. And you're gonna love it. This shit is bananas. So if you haven't checked out the Arturia stuff yet, they have like a 3-month free trial. So you can try the entire thing for 3 months, and then really it's one of the cheaper full collections of amazing things put together out there anyway. And I always just keep my I think I started buying V Collection at V Collection 2. And I've always just kept it updated ever since, and bought Pigments when I got the Rolly, and now I got the plugins, and yeah, stuff is dope. So, all right, congratulations, Steven. That's freaking awesome. We will reach out to you tomorrow and get the ball rolling on getting all of this stuff out to you. What is next on the show? Is there other mix break? Oh, I definitely got to show you guys the mix bus. But I wanted to show you on Mojave some more of the vocals and then the mix bus. Just a few minutes, and then I'll sprint Skrizzly Adams, and then we'll be done for the anniversary show. So, yeah, if you're just finding us, it's Ken Lewis. This is Mixing Night. This is our 1-year anniversary show. We started under lockdown, week after lockdown, a year ago, and, man, it's just been an amazing ride. Thanks for joining us. This is our guilty pleasure passion project. It's just so much fun to do Mixing Night. And okay, Mojave, vocals. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Where is here we go. I'm going through that same H3000. No, I'm not actually. This is, what is this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, same thing, just a different, so same pitch spreader I used on Down on Me, and listen to what this does. Just like adds about 10 people to your, oh, wait. So that chorusing just kind of amplifies everything and makes it a little bit bigger. And then the other cool thing I did on the AUs was Saturn. So a lot of times with like choirs and backing vocals and stuff like that, I won't distort them. I'll just give them a little bit of saturation that starts bordering on distortion. Listen to the difference here. Do you hear that brightness and that bite that it's giving it? One of the cool things I love about the FabFilter Saturn as a saturator is that you can set it up so that you can saturate in different bands. And each one of these bands you can set up with a completely different style of saturation. I think most of these are all gentle saturation, but for instance, if I wanted to take just this band between 2.2K and 5K, it's this band right here. It's got its own tone section, low, mid, high within that band, and then in presence. It's got an amount of drive, and then it's got a saturation type. So I could put a heavy distortion just right into that band. Let's see what it sounds like. And then I could do something like, I could take only that band and I could keep that heavy distortion, but I could mix some out of it so it's still bites like that, but it's just not as prominent. Or you could just turn the drive down. So if you really want to shape your overall sound with a saturator, I think the FabFilter Saturn is probably your best choice. I don't find it great at distortions. Like I'd probably choose Decapitator before Saturn for just something out and out nasty. But if you really want to shape a sound tonally, as well as where the saturation really matters, you know, the low end can be much cleaner and the high end can really bite, or vice versa. It's a really versatile box. So that was on the choirs. And then, you know, finally I'll show you guys some mix bus stuff. So almost always the first thing in my mix bus chain happens to be this Black Box HG2 from Brainworks, Eric Racy's box. I love this thing. So yeah, this one's a killer. So let me loop. I think we might have lost him as he can. Let me loop a chorus, and I'll remove everything off of the mix bus, and then I'll add it back one at a time so you can kind of hear what I'm doing. So I'll start with everything on, then I'll start removing everything.
Some money and I'm mobbing like a daddy out. Body shots, I'm licking liquor off a body out. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates like that bump, bump. Got some money and I'm mobbing like a daddy out. Body.
Okay. This brings me to my next point. I don't see mixing and mastering necessarily as two different things. To me, when I'm mixing towards a finish line. and I'm trying to get as close to that finish line as I can. And I might leave a very tiny little bit of wiggle room for a mastering engineer to do even better work, because I don't want to get too over compressed or too, you know. But I'm getting my mix to 98 or 99% fully finished and mastered before I turn it into my client. As well as I can master. I'm a world-class mixer. I'm not a world-class mastering engineer. Nobody is both. You're either super dope at one and you're okay at the other, or vice versa. But I haven't, maybe somebody out there is, I don't know. I haven't met him yet. Okay, so where was I? All right, so let me back up all this. So I look at finishing the mix bus as just a part of the mixing process, and I get it completely finished as possible. And then, so this is usually my last stage on my mix bus, is the Pro L2. I will either bypass or I'll undo all of the settings on the Pro L2. Hey, Mazzy. Oh, you're such a good girl, baby. And I'll give the mastering engineer a compressed, which is what the client approved, and then an uncompressed, which is what the client approved with my final stage limiters removed, so that the mastering engineer has room to do their work, but I have gotten... my client has heard that song as close as humanly possible to finished before the mastering engineer gives it that extra 1 or 2 or 3% sometimes. And to me, that's just a much easier way to work, because I'm always looking for the finish line, and I don't have to guess it. Oh, well, when it comes back for mastering, it's going to sound like this. And, oh, mastering is going to take care of that. And blah, blah, blah. How do you know? I mean, how do you really know? You hope, but really you should find out for yourself before you let your client find out from the mastering engineer. And so to that end, I like the Slate FGX a lot, but I tend to find the Pro 2L is ever so... That is Mazikeen Lewis demanding treats. It's like, if I'm gonna look cute, damn it, you better feed me treats. Ply me with... Lay down, babe. Come on, lay down and look cute. Come on, lay down, look cute. Oh, is the Mazzy cam out? Oh, bummer. So, where was I? But anyway, the FGX I use as my metering, and I trust this meter. I look on the RMS scale at the loudest sections of my mix. I'm looking to get around -7 to -9 in the RMS. And let me see on... this is one of the loudest sections. Let me see where I'm at on this.
Got some money and I'm mobbing like a daddy, oh. Body shots, I'm making liquor off a body, oh. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates at that bump. Got some money and I'm mobbing like...
So I don't ever worry about LUFS. LUFS never comes into my brain. I never think about it. I worry about RMS. And this is what I do. When I take the loudest section of my song and I make sure that my final finished mastered volume is somewhere in that range. If you've got really heavy 808s, you can tend to push into the 7s more. If it's a rock song and the bass is more even with the rest of the thing, you probably don't want to go into the 7s. 8s are going to be plenty loud enough. Although the Des Rock shit is like fucking -6s. It's so loud. But it just rocks. So I won't tell you to push the RMS. I mean, go listen to Des Rock's Let Me Live, Let Me Die and check the RMS on that. It's ridiculous, but it sounds amazing. So, you know, it's all in the most important thing is that the end listener has the experience that you want them to have. And don't get so caught up in the gear or what you can do to the mix or the song, or, you know, the tools that you can use. You don't need to use all those tools. Some of them help, but, you know, the tools that you need to use are the tools that are going to make the song sound the best. Okay, mix bus real quick. Black Box HD2 is just like a saturator. I'm not really sure what it does, but I like what it does, so I use it. The only thing I ever adjust, these are my Manley settings for both my outboard and the plugin. The only thing I ever adjust is the input and the output, and I try and get an input on the plugin to reduce by 2 to 4 dB, and on the outboard more like 6 to 10. I find the outboard, I'm mostly saturating the tubes as much as I'm using it as a compressor. I don't know what I'm doing with the plugin. I don't understand these settings, but man, they just are, they're magic. You know, I don't have to understand it. I know my ears understand it, I'll tell you that much. Okay, this, I always rave about this thing. You're about to hear why.
Got some money and I'm robbing like a daddy, yo. Body shots, I'm making liquor off a body, yo. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bump, 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 bump. Got some money and I'm robbing like a daddy, yo. Body shots, I'm making liquor off a body, yo. Bad bitch looking like she do Pilates. Got that bump, 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 bump. Got some money and I'm robbing like a daddy, yo. Body shots, I'm making liquor.
For whatever reason, I have found the 500 band on this so musical, and the 2K band is super musical as well. I don't know why, but usually I tend to lean towards 60 or 100 hertz here, 5 to 8 here. Sometimes I'll go 12 or 16, but usually I'm getting the overall brightness if I need some from the air on the HG2. And then if I need to push a little bit of mid-range here, I can push it. If I need to carve a bit of mid-range out, then I can set the dip. Say, I usually set the dip at 3K or 4K or 2K, and then I'll just pull a little bit out until it just smooths it out. You're just, you know, putting a little dip in that section of the mix, and, you know, if it's really bitey in that area and your ears don't like it, the listener's ears aren't going to like it either. So, okay, so that's the Pultec Pro Legacy. I love that thing. And then the BX Digital. Sometimes I use this to do surgical EQ on a mix bus, but usually I just use the stereo width, and the stereo width is usually 112 or 113 max. I don't go beyond that. Ozone 8, I just fired up Mastering Assistant and let it do its job, and then after Mastering Assistant did its job, then I don't know how many parameters I went through and just tweak, you know, gentle, listen, shape it until you get what you want, and then a final squeeze, just a little bit of extra mastering on with the Pro L2, just a transparent. Usually I'll set the oversampling at 16 times. Hey, babe. But it taxes the processor, so I don't want to choke the system right now. But this is the final, and I set my output at like -0.1. Usually I set mine at -0.07 or -0.08, but -0.1 is totally safe. And that'll just give you a little bit of streaming headroom so that you don't clip on streaming. Really important to give yourself a little bit of headroom for streaming. Like that 0.01 is fine, or the 0.1 is fine. Hey, who's being so demanding for treats? And then the last thing in the chain is bypassed. It's just my monitoring. I just use these as meters. Although the FGX is a really good finishing box. I like it. You could, it's like if the Fab Filter L2 is 100%, the FGX is 98 or 99. They're super subtle. All right, I think I'm gonna close out the night with us. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't have any specific questions I've missed from the chat roll. Manuel Razak from the chat roll asks, "Hey Ken, as a young mixer producer, you, like us, certainly struggled with some problems. What was your wow moment regarding understanding something that you struggled with before?" One of my wow moments was watching top mixers like Andy Wallace, and who was the other guy? Can't remember, but I would see a couple of these really top mixers. Andy Wallace, when his mix was done, it looked like he hadn't started. It looked like he had barely touched the SSL. And then you hit play, and it was the god of mixes. And he was notorious for this. And everybody looks at his mix like, how did he get that to sound like that? And it's because he mixes for what the music needs, not what the gear needs. And I think that was an epiphany watching him and a couple other top mixers when I was real young, mixing, not doing much, and realizing what mixing is really about. And mixing is about the song. Mixing is about finding the best way to translate that song out of two speakers for the listener. All right, well, it's been the anniversary show. The anniversary show. 1 year, I can't even believe it. And Lori and I just got vaccinated, so we're safe and sound. I get a new assistant. Rory Miller starts tomorrow. Oh, I'm super excited about that. And what just happened? I don't know. And I'm going to mask up and mix Skrizzly Adams' Tipping Point. This is kind of an older song. You can find this on Spotify. Tipping Point, I produced and mixed this with Brent Colatallo. He's my production partner with Catalyst. And we've been producing Skrizzly for years. We produced this for his Atlantic album, and now we're doing his independent stuff. And if you are not on Skrizzly Adams yet, wake up and go as soon as this show is over and start listening to his music. You can thank me later. And he's just been such a huge supporter of the show, and it's been awesome collaborating with him and being able to use his content on the show. Has just been everything, man. It's been, thank you, Skrizzly. Man, we got some great things to do together, man. I'm really looking forward to what's next. Okay, so this is Skrizzly Tipping Point off of his Atlantic Records debut in, I think, like 2015. I'm not really sure. It's a few years old, but what a fucking banger. This is Ken Lewis with Mixing Night. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Man, it's been a really killer show. We're going to go to the heavy metal lights and 10 minutes on the clock. And we're going to give Mazzy some treats and wind down Mixing Night until the next. All right, 10 minutes on the clock. Here we go. Have a good night, everybody. You'll see me a lot of times too solo something and then put it back in and listen and then pull it back out. And what I'm doing is I'm just listening to the emptiness without it and seeing how does this impact the overall thing that I'm doing. How does it feel in the mix now that I can really locate it? What is it doing? And then when I remove it, how does it make me feel? These things all have mood changes to them, and they all dictate responses from you as a mixer. A lot of times that's how I'll set my balances as well. I'll remove it, I'll listen to it in the mix, I'll remove it, and then I'll put it back in, and I'll just ask myself, how does it feel? Is it low enough? Is it loud enough? Sometimes it's just easier to judge it as it comes back in instead of just listening to it without, just moving the fader. That's RCA artist Ellie Due. If you don't know her, D-U-H-E, Ellie Due. She is amazing.
We've had enough, you don't need me around. Yeah, yeah, this is the tipping point. Cause the motor gave out, motor gave out. Yeah, gotta lie and say that we've lost control when we never really had it. You see, the devil don't do this alone, and I gotta lie and say that we've lost control. Never really had it. Devil don't do this alone, and I gotta lie and say that we've lost control. When the motor gives out, when push comes to shove, at least I wanna love, 'cause I won't be around.
Oh, 3 minutes left. I'm 7 minutes in, and every single track is in the mix. 30 tracks are in the mix. Now I just got to fine tune and finish the mix bus as fast as I possibly can.
Cut the engine and see if it starts when I believe it. tipping point. 'Cause the motor gave out. Yeah, the push came to shove. We've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, this is the tipping point. 'Cause the motor gave out. Yeah, the push came to shove. You've had enough, and you don't need me around. Yeah, this is the tipping point. Yeah, 'cause the motor gave me a feeling. I said I'd be there if I. 'Cause if I faith in the driveway was all that was broken, and a heart that's been beaten. I don't love you now like you love me. So I don't love you yet. It's just the tipping point. When the motor gives out, it's called shove, and you had enough, and you don't want me around. It's just the tipping point. When the motor gives out, shove, at least I wanna love, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping point. Gotta lie and say that we've lost control when we never enough, and you don't want me around. This is the tipping point. When the motor gives out, when push comes to shove, at least I wanna won't be around. This is the tipping point. Gotta lie and say that we've lost control when we never really had it. You see, the devil don't do this alone, and I know it's so hard for you to take, 'cause you swore that you weren't gonna move on and tell your mother that I was the one. So why the hell bother? You don't love me now.
Woo! That's it. I think I'm really happy with this. I think everything came together pretty darn solid. That bridge is such a bitch. There is so much that can get away from you in this sprint mix, and this is one of my most challenging ones. But I think I really nailed it well. So I'm gonna ride out mixing night and play this down from the top for you guys, just to prove I actually sprint mixed it. And thank you for joining me for the Mixing Night anniversary show. It's Ken Lewis with Mixing Night. Thank you for everybody who helps out with this show and tunes in and contributes. And man, we are just so thankful, and we've had a really great year, and we're looking forward to another really great year with you. So here is Skrizzly Adams' Tipping Point anniversary. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah, I don't care about you, just thought that we could get along. It was high on a feeling. I said I'd be there at 5:35, but I guess I was wrong. 'Cause I got lost thinking how we fly down a parkway. My faith in the driveway was all that was broken, and a heart that's been beaten. I don't love you now like you loved me then. Was it so hard to put it in of you yet? Is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out, when push calls to shove, and you had enough, and you don't want me around. Is this the tipping point? When the motor gives out, when push calls to shove, at least I wanna love, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping
and see if it starts when I put the key in. If it's in your heart, then give me one reason, or fire it up and keep me believing. Park the car and quick cut the engine, see if it starts when I put the key in. If it's in your heart, then give me one reason, or fire it up and keep me believing. Just park the car and quick cut our engine, see if it starts when I put my key in. If I'm in your heart, then give me one reason, or fire it up. But man, this is the tipping point. Push came to shove and you've had enough, 'cause I won't be around. This is the tipping point.